Couch co-op. A lot of us can fondly remember the best moments of our young lives, dying endlessly on legendary difficulty in the good Halo games, or having to redo the whole game because you chose the wrong thing in Streets of Rage. I did that twice. If you've got a friend or two, a couch, maybe even some beanbags, and a whole afternoon with no responsibilities, what a concept. These are just some amazing couch co-op games you should also check out. Absolum is a tight, stylish beat-em-up roguelite from the minds behind Streets of Rage 4 that's built for two players who want to throw hands together. And swords. You drop into the fantasy realm of Talum, where magic's banned and the Sun King is not being a ray of sunshine. Natasha Bedingfield's natural nemesis, you're part of the resistance, smashing through arenas, chaining attacks, and elemental powers. The combat's crunchy and reward-weighted, and you can really thrive when your partner isn't flailing on the floor. The run-based structure keeps things fresh with new nodes, new enemies, and a little bit of narrative that sneaks in under the fisting. Steady on. The visuals have expressive, hand-drawn flair, and the soundtrack goes pretty dang hard. This is a pretty new couch co-op game, but don't let it pass you by. It's really bloody good. Oh man, prepare to get absolutely emotionally wrecked. The cool thing about A Way Out is that you can't play it alone. At all, really. It's built entirely around two players, either couch co-op or online, working together through a split-screen narrative about two convicts, Leo and Vincent, who are trying to escape prison and survive what comes after. Joseph Fares and his team at Hazelight made a story-driven game that's mechanically tied to a corporation instead of just stapling it on, and it's really bloody great. The player might be in a cutscene while the other's free to wander about, causing trouble or trying to instigate a bit of Connect 4. Every section demands some level of communication, whether that's timing a distraction, lifting a gate, or driving terribly during the inevitable chase sequence. A Way Out is short, focused, and built around shouting at each other, but in sync. Whether you're side by side or online, it's two players only, which feels perfect for a surprisingly emotional story about uneasy teamwork. Also, Connect 4. Banger. You know what, it's kinda crazy that this one is even couch co-op at all. Baldur's Gate 3 is a deep cinematic Dungeons & Dragons adaptation with sprawling dialogue trees and moral quandaries, but really, it's you and your couch co-op partner arguing over who gets to romance the vampire and or bear, and who accidentally set everything on fire. You can play it entirely solo, sure, but it's much better when everyone's trying to roleplay at once and the story keeps breaking in new, hilarious directions. One person's noble hero is another's kleptomaniac who can't resist stealing during cutscenes, and the game somehow keeps track of it all like that weird bloke with the scroll in A Scanner Darkly. The turn-based combat forces actual coordination, and the branching story feels alive even when everyone's working at cross purposes. It's smart, funny, and full of, that role-playing stuff we don't really get enough of, but do bear in mind that you'll need to pour dozens upon dozens of hours into this one. Borderlands 2 is still the high point of the series. Is that a big compliment to the game itself or an insult to the rest of the series? Regardless, this one is perfectly tuned for co-op. The story is there, but the world's loud enough to keep you locked in. You get endless loot, cartoon violence, and enough one-liners to fill a bad stand-up routine. Gearbox refined the formula here, turning every firefight into a scramble for better guns and louder explosions. Co-op is where it shines. The split-screen setup isn't just tacked on, our skills genuinely mesh, from turret support to elemental mayhem. The loot system still wants you to quit your full-time job, but that's part of the fun. Everything feels faster, messier, and more unpredictable with a friend next to you, and even at its age, Borderlands 2 is a blast to pick up, whatever console it happens to be on, whether it's a PS3, PS5, or whatever. It's dumb in a smart way, or maybe smart in a dumb way, and few shooters have managed that balance since. Cult of the Lamb is a bizarro mix of cozy management sim and light demonic possession. You play as a possessed sheep-turned-cult leader, balancing sermons, sacrifices, and the occasional dungeon crawl. It's pretty daft stuff that feels like Happy Tree Friends took a stranger turn. The co-op update finally made it something where you can, well, make a cult with a mate. You can even bring a friend in for local play and run dungeons together, clean up after followers, or argue over who gets to indoctrinate the next believer. The loop of building, fighting, and cleaning vomit off the floor is a lot funnier when someone else is there to suffer with you. Cult of the Lamb makes heresy feel like a weekend hobby, and couch co-op just amplifies the fun. 2 players is plenty. Have you ever heard of a cult with more than 2 leaders? That's not a cult. It's a rugby team or something. Cuphead doesn't really need an introduction. It's the game that made everyone nostalgic for the 1930s and then immediately sank them into another Great Depression. It's a run and gun boss rush dressed like a Fleischer cartoon, but check into the outfit and oops, there's a knife. The co-op makes it equal parts exhilarating and infuriating. 2 players share the same suffering, with you dodging bullets, reviving each other, and dying in sync to the same ridiculous grin from a giant carrot. The difficulty doesn't scale down, so you either find a rhythm or implode completely. It's less about winning and more about mutual suffering with brilliant art direction. Everything here is handcrafted, from the animations to the soundtrack, and it really does still look and sound incredible. Few games feel this meticulous. Whether you're at the same screen or online, Cuphead is a co-op game worth persevering through as far as your relationship's health can take you.
I don't have enough arcane power.
Diablo 3 is comfort food. You've got loot, demons, and a lot of clicking. It doesn't matter how many times you've cleared a dungeon, the numbers keep going up, and that's all anyone really needs. The story's alright, but the rhythm of smashing through hordes of demons, collecting glowing junk, and immediately replacing it with slightly shinier junk never gets old. The couch co-op setup on consoles, specifically consoles to be fair, is where it really shines. Up to 4 players share one screen, tearing through dungeons and hoovering up loot until you can't tell who's who under the particle effects. It's messy, but a pretty fun kind of messy, like eating takeaway with your bare hands. Blizzard nailed the balance between simple and satisfying here, you know, after all that real money stuff got taken care of. Combat feels weighty, the builds are fun to experiment with, and it's easy to lose hours without noticing. It's the perfect just one more run game, and the 4th game isn't too bad either. Don't Starve Together is a relationship test disguised as a survival game. You and your mate get dumped into a gothic wilderness with nothing but Twig's anxiety and a vague hope that you'll figure out how to not die. Spoiler, you probably won't. The world hates you, winter's worse, and something's always eating your crops or your sanity, or just you in general. It's gorgeous in a Tim Burton run out of that sweet Wednesday money way, and it holds up pretty well. Every session starts with optimism, or we'll build a base, or we'll get organised, and ends with someone setting the camp on fire while everyone starves. The game said not to do that. It said not to do that. It's the perfect blend of mayhem and routine. You chop trees, you make soup, you scream at the darkness, and you repeat. If your idea of teamwork involves mutual suffering and haunting each other as ghosts, Don't Starve Together could be just what you need. It Takes Two is haze-like doubling down on what A Way Out started. That's a co-op game that actually needs 2 people instead of pretending to. Every mechanic, puzzle, and boss fight is built around coordination and mild domestic conflict. You play as Cody and May, a couple turned into dolls by their daughter's magical breakdown. They're trying to fix their marriage while torturing elephants in the process. Each level throws a completely new idea at you, platforming 1 minute, flying squirrels, and snowball fights the next, and it all works really, really well. Even people who don't really play games will be able to get something out of this one. It's absurdly varied, perfectly paced, and occasionally pretty heartfelt. It's also the best kind of couch co-op game, equal parts teamwork and waiting patiently for your non-gamer girlfriend to make a simple jump. You can play it online too, but it feels better in person with the laughing, the swearing, and trying to look at each other in the eyes after that elephant torture.
Right, you out of there at once, you little scamp.
Buddy, I don't think that's a rat in there. Are you sure that...
That's right, all of them, all of the Lego pretty much. The Lego games are the definition of sharing a pillow that happens to smell like your childhood. It's pure comfort. You've played one, you've basically played them all, but that's not a complaint. Whether it's Lego Star Wars, Lego Marvel Superheroes, or Lego Lord of the Rings, the formula still works. You smash everything, you rebuild it a bit worse, and laugh while plastic Yoda wails. They are built for 2 players, local co-op, and pure low-stakes fun. No timers really, no real punishment, just shared bits of plastic, and the occasional accidental punch to your friend's face. The later games add bigger hubs and voice acting, but even the older Silent era ones still have a ton of charm. Maybe even more. You don't play Lego games for the depth, you play them because your brain hurts and you need to chortle politely at some references. Simple, funny, and best enjoyed next to someone else breaking the same furniture you just rebuilt. Moving Out takes the simple act of furniture removal and turns it into Takeshi's Castle. You and up to 3 of your mates are a team of furniture arrangement and relocation technicians. That sounds professional until someone launches a sofa through a window and also actually spells out fart. It's basically Overcooked but with fewer onions and more shattered glass. Every level gives you a house full of oddly shaped objects and far too little time. The physics system ensures nothing goes as planned. Well, it'd be boring if it did. Beds get jammed in doorways, TVs fall into ponds, and teamwork immediately turns into shouting. But the fun kind. It can be rewarding when you realise you can shave seconds off a run by hurling a fridge across a river. What keeps it fun is how little it truly cares about realism. You know, after all, hernias, not that fun. Not that fun. You can slap ghosts, dodge traffic, and commit light arson, all in the name of a 5-star rating. It's endlessly replayable and perfect with friends who don't mind losing repeatedly and enjoy blaming someone else. Basically moving out but with saucepans, Overcooked is a good way of testing just how good your relationships actually are. You and up to 3 pals are trapped in increasingly ridiculous kitchens, frantically chopping, frying and serving before everything catches fire. It's simple to explain and very hard to master, especially when you are a bunch of idiot sandwiches. Communication is everything here, which of course means nobody actually communicates. That would be boring. Someone's always shouting for onions, someone's washing plates in the corner, and someone else is just spinning in circles because the kitchen's on a moving truck now. It's brilliant because it never stops escalating and it never gives you time to think or fetch your health and safety certificates. The sequel added online play and the ability to throw ingredients, which somehow made things worse in the best way. It's stressful, hilarious, and occasionally tragic, like Kitchen Nightmares meets Wipeout. That should sell it to you. You could argue that Portal 2 is a puzzle game that is better with a partner, mostly because you both get to be smug and wrong at the same time. The co-op campaign is separate from the main story, starring 2 mute robots who solve theft traps for science and the occasional round of mockery from GLaDOS. It's a brilliant mix of spatial reasoning, timing and dry humour. Every puzzle demands actual cooperation. You'll spend half your time congratulating yourselves and the other half realising you've just flung your partner into a wall. The writing keeps it tight, the physics are still incredible today, and the sense of accomplishment when something finally clicks is pretty much unmatched. It's playable online or in local split screen with 2 players, and it remains one of the smartest examples of how to make teamwork fun without turning it into babysitting. An absolutely essential couch co-op game everyone should play at least once right here. In Rayman Legends, everything feels kind of effortless. Every jump, kick and punch lands exactly where you expect, and with another player, or up to 4, it somehow stays just as tight. Ubisoft nailed the rhythm, building stages that almost play like musical tracks even before you reach the actual music levels. It's co-op done very, very well in that it's forgiving, but also not a complete walk in the park. You know, you can revive each other instantly, bounce off your friends mid-air, and still keep the flow going no matter how much nonsense is unfolding. Case in point, a musical level soundtracked by a gibberish cover of Black Betty. Well, even more gibberish. Even if you're allergic to mascots and collectathons, Rayman Legends makes it easy to give in. Few platformers feel this smooth, all this happy to have you. We'd be happy to have Rayman back anytime soon. Resident Evil 5 isn't the scariest entry in the series, but it might be the most fun to play with a friend, even if, you know, a lot of the fun is poking fun at it. It turns Resident Evil into a sun-drenched action movie with explosions, roundhouse kicks, and more biceps than storytelling IQ. You and a partner take on the roles of Chris Redfield and Sheva Alomar, punching your way through parasites, cults, and control schemes. The real draw is the co-op. It's built around 2 players, either split screen or online, and it works beautifully when both of you are in sync and the game just works. Which is harder than it sounds sometimes with this one. Sharing ammo, managing health, and covering each other under pressure turns the game from a clunky, sometimes shooter, into a proper teamwork exercise. As I have alluded to already, yeah sure, it has some rough edges, but that's fine. Sometimes survival horror doesn't need subtlety, something, boulder punching, let's move on. Split Fiction felt like the next natural step for Hazelight after A Way Out and It Takes Two. It's another fully co-op experience built entirely around 2 people trying to work together without falling out. Once again, you can't play solo. Well, you can, but you'd have to have 2 hands. 2 controllers? Well, everyone's got 2 hands. You'd have to have 2 controllers. It wouldn't work. It's strictly 2 players, either local or online, and that's what makes it so bloody fun. This time you're swapping between story worlds, shifting genres and mechanics as you go. One level might play like a sci-fi platformer, the next like a puzzle-driven adventure. Hazelight's trademark split-screen presentation is back too, always doing something inventive rather than just dividing the screen for convenience. It's super slick and built with the same blend of spectacle and silliness that made their earlier games so brilliant. While it may not hit as hard emotionally or narratively, Split Fiction is another smart, stylish excuse to spend a few hours blaming someone else for your mistakes. It's a Minecraft content creator simulator, but you don't go to jail. Oh, beautiful. Brilliant game. You know what's even better? Streets of Rage 4 really shouldn't have worked. Reviving a 16-bit brawler 30 years later sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But Dr. Emu and Guard Crush Games somehow pulled off one of the best modern beat-em-ups, and also of, well, all time really. It keeps the feel of the originals while sharpening everything with tighter combat, flashier animations, and a soundtrack that makes punching a man through a bin feel absolutely peak. While still fun alone, it is pretty much built for co-op really. Up to 4 players can team up locally or 2 online, and the pacing spot on whether you're juggling enemies with friends or fighting for the last roast chicken like you're at dinner with John Goodman. Tag team combos, quick revives, and a nice lashing of silly bollocks keep you on your toes. It's proof you don't need to change everything with a sequel. Sometimes you just need 3 friends who know that you are picking Blaze not just because of her outfit. Sure mate, sure. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is loud, beautiful, and gloriously stuck in the early 90s. It's just like me. Tribute Games managed to take the feel of the old arcade beat-em-ups and make it slick enough to work today without sanding off the cheese. You can play as all 4 turtles plus a few turtles, all 4 turtles plus a few extras, with up to 6 players in local or online co-op. Yes, 6 players. That's even on Switch. It sounds messy, and it absolutely is, but it's the fun kind of messy. It's the Ankara messy. The screen's full of bodies flying around, someone's yelling about losing track of their character, and somehow you're all still having a bloody great time. It is not the deepest game in the world, but it will be surprisingly comfy for anyone who grew up mashing buttons next to a mate. It's short, sharp, and stupidly replayable for players of all ages. Pure arcade joy done right. Right, you've had your beat-em-ups, now here comes the yarn-em-up. Unravel 2 takes the quiet, sentimental platforming of the first game and turns it into a proper co-op experience. You and a friend each control a tiny Yarny, which immediately makes everything double as twee. Every jump, swing, and climb depends on how well you can coordinate or how patient you are when your partner keeps missing the ledge. They'll get it eventually. It's built purely for 2 players, either local co-op or solo, but honestly, that does kind of miss the point. The puzzles are clever without being overly complex, forcing you to use the yarn connection to swing each other across gaps, lower platforms, or pull objects into place. Unravel 2 isn't about beating the final boss and being the best, it's about figuring out how to move together without coming undone. The final game of today is about being a goose. Untitled Goose Game is the only stealth game where the objective is to be as annoying as possible. You play as a horrible goose let loose on a sleepy English village who's honking, stealing, and emotionally scarring everyone within beak's reach. It's deeply, deeply satisfying. The co-op update made it twice as funny, double the honking, double the psychological warfare. It supports 2 players locally, and that's all it needs. You spend most of the time wordlessly coordinating destruction. One goose distracts a gardener while the other steals his keys, or you both chase a small child into a phone box purely, well, it's just funny, innit? Just funny. There's no pressure, no timers, and no real consequence here. It's just mischief as a team sport. Untitled Goose Game proves that not every co-op experience needs high stakes or fisticuffs. Sometimes it's enough to just be an horrible goose. And I hope you've enjoyed giving this video a goosey gander. If you have any other videos to recommend, be sure to let me know down in the comments down below, or even any other couch co-op games. I've been Jimmy, been good to have you, and I'll catch you in the next one.